Hello from Central Virginia. It feels like summer today. The rain we had in the week, we had 4 inches of rain, which was awesome. As I said in my last video, I have a lot of chores to do because the garden's getting a little bit of that jungle feeling to it now. And now the sun is blasting right in my eyes. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to work on my tomato plant. I need to get into my sauce patch and I need to cut and prune some of the bottom branches for greater aeration. I'm also looking at this sauce patch and the rain really did it a lot of good. It's really taking off. So I am also going to have to put a second level of the Florida Weave Trellis on. And I want to give all of my tomato plants a good spray down with hydrogen peroxide solution. I'll start with 4 ounces of hydrogen peroxide to 1 gallon of water. The reason I do that is it kind of gives the leaves a cleansing off. And we have just gone from a very wet week, cool and wet, to now our typical summer heat and humidity. And those are some of the recipes that you can get for viruses to come along and illnesses. It just really helps boost the plant's strength. So that is what I'm going to do forthwith. I do think I'm going to get a storm though. Here is my sauce patch, which has grown dramatically. These plants are now a good 2.5 feet tall, and they are ready to get another staking in terms of the Florida weave. I also need to go in and prune. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. As I prune, I am going to wipe my scissors down, my shears down, between each plant with some alcohol, just to make sure I'm not transmitting anything from plant to plant. All right, what I'm trying to do is just open up the bottom area of these plants. I'm also trimming off anything that's touching the ground. Well, this one is not getting trimmed off, but I'm just opening up so that some air is in here. I'll show you the contrast of what happens if you don't prune. See how thick this is? I'm going to lift and cut all of this matter off the bottom. The sauce patch are Roma tomatoes, and those are Determinate variety. What that means is it's going to grow to a certain height and give all of its fruit in a relatively short period of time. So I'm going to trim accordingly. These plants will produce, they're starting to get their flowers. I haven't seen any tomato formation on them yet, but maybe I'll be surprised. But I should start getting tomatoes from these in about another month. I was wrong. We do have some fruit appearing. So the next thing I'm going to do is put a second layer of the Florida Weave Trellis. I did that in an earlier video, the first layer. Now I'm going to do this trellis and support these plants a little bit more. Go around several times. You can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm just attaching the string at one end. So you wrap it around, and then you're just going to bring the string down the row. I'm going on front on this side of this row of plants until I get to this post, this middle post. Now I'm going to wrap this around the middle post, and now it's a weave. So a weave goes back and forth and back and forth. I came down this side of the first 3 plants. Now I'm going to go down the other side of these plants till I get to the next post. Okay, now I go down to this second post. I've got that wrapped. And about 8 inches above where I put the first, I'm just going to do 1. I'm going to do 3 around, good and tight, because as these plants grow, they get very, very, very heavy with the fruit. I'm just wrapping it 3 times around the post. All right, now I'm going to weave it back the other way. So I came down this side, the inside of these plants. So now I'm going to go down the outside of those 3 plants. On the outside of these until I get to the center post where I meet up with the other one. Now I'm going to wrap it around tightly 3 times around this post, good and tight. I came down the outside there, so now I'm going to weave this last bit on the inner side, on the inside of the row. Ooh. You are a pretty plant, my friend. You can go back and adjust some of the leaves and limbs later. The idea is just to really hold this up in between these 2 strings, and it really does work well as long as you do it right the first time. Don't do it wrong the first time. Here we go. Now I'm back at the end where I'm going to wrap it around 3 times tight and then tie. I'm just using simple baling twine, which you can get at the farm supply store. It's not expensive and it's super, super strong. One year I used hemp rope and that was a huge mistake. I used a natural fiber and it just didn't withstand the weather. And that's how you do a Florida weave trellis. It's a great way to hold up tomatoes. I think especially the Determinate varieties that are going to, they're only going to grow to a certain height. So I'm going to do the other side, and then the next thing I'm going to do is the peroxide spray on. What I'm going to do on this sauce patch is I'm going to give them a good spray down with a solution of 4 ounces of hydrogen peroxide and 1 gallon of water. I'm going to make sure to treat the entire plant, the underside as well as the top side. So what I'll do is start on the underside of the lower level, work my way up, then spray down the top. Hydrogen peroxide is going to just kind of clean off the leaves. It's like a disinfectant. I'm going to treat the soil underneath and the stems. This will just help the plant fight off any kinds of, fungal things. I'll treat the ground right around the bottom base of it too. It's gotten a bit on the steamy side out here with a few bugs to boot. I'm going to go ahead, finish spraying up this garden patch. I hope you'll come back and check things out later, see how the garden is progressing, and stay tuned for updates. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening. Bye.